Hi, YouTube. Good evening. How are you doing? I am going to discuss the patch notes with you today. They just came out like 3 minutes ago, and we're going to be talking about it. The patch goes live in an hour, so we have a bit of time to figure out what's going to happen. But let's have a quick look at the patch notes and like our first thoughts, first impressions, and let me know what you think as well, because I'm just going to give my opinion. I want to hear what you have to say about it as well. Which decks do you think you want to play after the patch goes live? And which deck are you hoping to not face anymore? Okay, here we go. A patch notes. Since the launch of Perils in Paradise, we've been happy to see a lot of evolving strategies, but we think there is still room for more new and interesting cards to get a chance to shine. That's true. Our main goal with this patch is to add more competitive options from Perils in Paradise. We're doing that by curbing a few cards that are showing up too often and by buffing some new cards that have some room to improve. I like that. I always get more excited about buffs than nerfs, so hopefully they're hitting the right cards. Let's have a look. First one, nerfs first. Hydration Station. Old, resurrect your three highest cost taunt minions. Oh, okay. Resurrect three of your different highest cost taunt minions. So you cannot resurrect three Zilliaxes anymore with this one. So you need to add a few other taunts as well to your deck because otherwise it's going to be bad. I think it might still see play. I don't think it's terrible because before already, if you could just resurrect your Zilliax once, you're in a lot of cases you're quite happy already anyway. Okay, and I think they made the same change for Inventor Boom. Resurrect two friendly minions, two different friendly mags. Okay. So same change. So this one cannot summon two Zilliaxes anymore. So you need to play another mag that costs 5 or more to have full value from the boom. I think these two changes together might make the Unkilliax a little bit less popular because it is a big change. Nonetheless, I think it could still see play because in a lot of matchups, when warrior goes chemical spell on 5, there is a Zilliax on the board on turn 5, which is already quite hard to deal with. And then if they can resurrect one more with boom and two more with hydration station because you run two copies of the card, it still equals to a lot of Zilliaxes, which is like quite annoying to face. But I'm gonna try and be optimistic and positive about it, and just we're gonna hope we're gonna hope there is gonna be less of this deck on ladder because it's just so unfun. Okay, then the Zilliax taking module is also gonna get changed. Old 5 mana costs 1 less for each minion in play. New 4 mana costs 1 less for each friendly minion. That is quite a big change actually. Because the only reason you could get that really cheap in the very early game is if your opponent is also spamming the board. But if that changes now, this is going to be much, much lower. So hopefully that will stop people from putting the Zilliaxes in every deck, and also the Zilliaxes just being mega strong. I think it's fine. This is good change. Let's have a look at the dev comment. On the other end of the spectrum, taking Pylon Zilliax combination has continued to be very popular in more aggressive board floating decks. That's true. Perils of Paradise added some great board building cards, and now this Zilliax is a bit too much of a good thing. Yeah, I think it already was, but this change makes the card a little less powerful in those decks and also shifts the play pattern so that Zilliax no longer punishes other board centric decks for fighting back on board. Yeah, I like that. I think that's good because sometimes I'm playing a board deck. I don't have the Zilliax. My opponent is also a board deck, and if they have the Zilliax, they can just value trade everything away, and you get mega punished for playing the board. So that is going to take care of that a little bit. And then the next nerf is Lamplighter. I personally am not sure this card needed a nerf because the elemental decks are quite good, but they're not OP in my opinion. And I didn't even face that many of them. And if I did face them, sometimes they were still quite slow because all the elementals they play to build up to this lamplighter are not that good. So I didn't have a problem with the lamplighter, but I guess a lot of people did. So let's see. It is being changed to 4 mana 4/3. Okay, so improve the stats a little bit and 1 mana more. I think it's fine. Lamplighter was made a bit strong to intentionally give an infusion to elemental strategies that never landed in prior expansions. We love that it successfully brought multiple decks in this archetype to the meta, but it has turned out to be a little too strong. Yeah, I think when you're playing a board-based deck, you don't need to necessarily be able to OTK as well, because then you're just like mixing these strategies and it's becoming a bit too OP sometimes. So I'm fine with it either way. And then Concierge from 3 mana to 4 mana. Honestly, I don't know if that matters. Because every time I face a druid with the concierge and like the OTK druid, they never do it that early that this 1 mana matters a lot because they can still ramp into it quite easily. I don't know if this is like a relevant nerf, let's say, but we will see. We will see. Oh, and we have also a Chia Drake nerf. It's losing some stats. 4 mana, 2/4. So that makes it a little bit easier to trade, I suppose. But I don't know about you, but when I play the Chia Drake, I mostly play it for the effect to either draw or get spell damage. And I don't really care that much about the stats. But who am I? Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Quick look at the dev command. Concierge Dragon Druid is a deck that can follow up early tempo plays with lots of burst damage from hand, sometimes a little too early in the game. I haven't seen that personally, but I guess they have stats on that. The deck is very powerful, but we like that it's a new deck and that the metagame has been adapting to it instead of folding. While how you adapt to it is by running speaker stompers, but they can't OTK, so you just have to tech W. These changes slow down the deck's early combo turns. Yeah, okay. If these changes aren't enough, we'll make further adjustments in our next balance window. Okay, we might need some more, but let's wait and see. Okay, now we're gonna talk buffs. And there were quite some buffs, so let's have a look. The first one is Rye Cleaver. 7 mana base weapon, 2 mana minion sandwich, 5 mana base weapon, 4 mana minion sandwich. Okay, so they changed the stats around a little bit. Weapon will be cheaper to play, and then the sandwich is going to be a little bit more expensive. Personally, I haven't faced a single Rye Cleaver on ladders so far since the expansion came out. So hopefully this will push people to try this card a little bit more because I think it is a fun design, but it was just a little bit too expensive. Then Ranger Gilly, from 6 mana to 5 mana. If the I don't know if this is gonna save Hunter, to be honest, because I think it's just a very weak card in Hunter or in general. And Hunter is in a pretty bad spot at the moment, so I'm kind of hoping there is going to be a little bit more. But at least making it 5 mana makes sense, and maybe I'll want to try it out in a Hunter as well. But we're gonna have to see. Razzle Dazzler from 7 to 6. That is good. I think that's good because I think it was already good for 7. It just didn't really see play because of the other decks that were a little bit too OP, especially the Zilliax decks. So if there is less Zilliax and more room for this archetype of Spell School Shaman, this for 6 might be very good. So this is one of the decks I will be trying out once the patch goes live in an hour. Okay, next, Natural Talent. Old, get a random Naga and a random spell, they cost 1 less. New, get a random Naga and a random spell, they cost 2 less. Okay, so you get a little bit more discount. I think that's fine. Not much to say about it. We're just gonna have to try it out. Buttons, old 5 mana 5/5, new 4 mana 4/4. Okay, so they decreased the stats a little bit but made it cheaper. Well, again, this is they're trying to push the Spell School Shaman a little bit more by the looks of it. So I'm all for it. I'm gonna be trying a Buttons / Razzle Dazzler deck as soon as the patch goes live, I think. And then I will update you on that tomorrow. Next one, Cruise Captain Laura. Old 7 mana, new 6 mana. Summon to random locations. To be honest, I think this is the most boring legendary of the set. Because summoning random locations is just not that fun. A lot of them aren't really that insanely good. And also it takes up 2 board spaces. So I think even with this buff, I won't be playing it. Let me know if you think otherwise, but I think this is Boring design. Okay, next. Tsunami. Old 8 mana, summon 3/6 water elementals that freeze. They attack random enemies. New 10 mana, summon 4. Okay, so the card gets buffed to 10 mana. And it summons 4/3/6 water elementals that freeze. You know what I'm thinking, guys? You know what happened a few months ago? The Tendies got nerfed. And now there's nothing good for 10 mana anymore. But if you get this from Tendies, maybe we can spam Tandy again. That was my first thought, but I think it will also be good in Mage. But Tendies, guys, that's where it's at. Imagine you play a one mana Tendy, and it casts this Tsunami. It attacks at anything that's possible. Wow. Maybe I'll try that first. Okay, next Service Ace. Hey, it's the Zeddy. Zeddy getting buffed. Old 3 mana 3/3. New 2 mana 2/3. Okay, so it costs 1 less. That will be pretty good, I think, in the Paladin. That's gonna make hand buff Paladin probably or a buff Paladin. Gonna make a buff Paladin pretty good because I think it was already not terrible, but it couldn't really see much play because of the Zilliax in the meta. But with this little buff, I think people are gonna be playing it more. Then Twilight Medium. Old 6 mana 5/6, new 5 mana 4/5. Okay. Set the cost of the top card of your deck to 1. I kind of like these kinds of cards. I don't know if I'll want to try it out, but for 6 mana I would never. For 5 I could maybe consider it. Yeah, it might be okay. Then Nightshade Tea is going to be 1 mana now. Deal 2 damage to a minion. Deal 2 damage to your hero. Okay, so a little bit cheaper, a little bit less damage. Fine. I think I haven't really tried the archetype yet, so can't really comment too much on it. Then Conman. Old Battlecry, replay the last card you've played from another class. New Battlecry, replay the last card you've played from a non-rogue class. Okay. That changes the card a little bit on how it worked, but hopefully be good because this is like kind of a fun card, I think. Don't know if it's gonna matter that much. I haven't played too much rogue myself, but let me know what you think. What are you excited for and from all these buffs and the nerfs? Personally, I pray that we're not gonna see too much more Zilliax and that we have a little bit more room to try out new stuff because I've tried so many board-based decks because that's my favorite type of deck, and every time you face the Zilliax, it's just impossible and you have to leave the game. But we'll see. Okay, there's also battleground stuff, but we're not going to be talking about this. This is a standard channel. So let me know what you think, guys. And as usual, if you enjoyed the content, press follow, press like, leave a comment, and also see you tomorrow. Bye.